Good afternoon, everybody. This is Callie with Jemminz. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to recreate bath bombs. I filmed two previous bath bomb experiments that both failed. So we're back to square one. I sat down and redid my recipe. Not going to use the previous bath bomb molds. We're going to go back to the little ones because the recipe was made for these. I also ordered a brand new bath bomb mold like the one I showed earlier in the previous video that I demoed. Those bath bombs worked, but the recipe didn't. So here's the bath bomb that we did. This is all nice and hard. These are going to be available for sale. This is the Pink Berry Mimosa. So this one does work, but I went and tried a couple other recipes, and sadly, they didn't work. And this was the end result of what happened. I'm going to show you this tray. So this is what we ended up making out of them. And I was able to save the recipe itself and I broke them down into little rocks. So we'll be selling these as bath bomb rocks. This is the Lilac and Lily, and they smell perfect. They're not bath bombs, but they still work the same way. You could just throw them in your bath, as many as you want or as little as you want. And that's what I like about these. So these bath rock fizzies will be going up on my website as soon as they're dry in the next couple days. I did my recipe 3 times. I've had 3 somewhat fails on them. Like I said, I went back and reformulated my recipe. I did all kinds of research, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this recipe will work. So we're going to give it a try. I'm going to mix all my ingredients up in my mixer because that's what it recommends. And it does recommend using witch hazel. Part of the reason why that recipe failed was the witch hazel that I used. What happened was when I formed the balls, because they were so large, they actually collapsed on each other. And instead of making a ball, it kind of made like a bath. It was in the shape of a bath shower fizzy. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but they're flat and they're round and they drop in your shower and then they fizz up. Well, that's not what I was going for with these. So we have, like I said, reformulated this, and I'm really hoping that these work. I did my research, and I found out that the recipe that I did the first time with that mold, it does not work with that mold. It actually collapses once you unmold it because there's not enough stuff to hold it together. So I ordered a smaller one, and as soon as I get that one in, I will test it. Will I continue to use this one that I've spent $38 for? I probably will. I'm going to work on a formula that will actually stabilize it a little more. I'm just going to have to work on a formula for that bigger one. The smaller one is a 2.5 inch. That's really the size that I wanted to go with. So I may end up seeing if I can return that one and then just get the refund on it. I'm not sure I'll be able to do that because it's not a customized item. It's something that they can probably sell, but I'm not happy with the mold itself. It's not the mold, it's the recipe. I can't find a recipe to work with it because they are so large. I really didn't want that much large of a bath fizzy anyway. So me going to a smaller one actually works better. And the one that I got was a 2.5 inch, which is not quite that size. It's actually more, it's a little bit bigger than the round on this one. You can see my hand, and it fits in your hand. It's going to be a little bit bigger, but it'll fit better. And I think the recipe that I've created will work with that. But before I go and use that, I want to see that if that one doesn't work, I want to make sure that I have a bath fizzy that will actually physically work. I have tried about 10 different recipes, and none of them were working in my area for many reasons. We in Washington State have a really odd weather pattern system. It can be humid one day and not humid enough. It can be super dry. So being able to come up with a recipe that can work through all seasons and all levels of humidity is kind of hard. Just like our weather out here is really hard to predict, it's really hard for me to be able to predict our Bath Fizzy. So I'm hoping that the small adjustments that I made to this recipe will work. I'm going to use the full recipe that I made. It makes 9 of these little bath bombs. So hopefully this will work. And if nothing else, if it doesn't work again, I'll just turn it into either one of the bath rocks or put it into a Bath Fizzy itself, add it to the mix that I've already done. And I've not lost my product. I just have to sell it in a different way. And I encourage you to do the same thing. If you have a bath bomb that completely fails, don't throw the batch away. It's still a Bath Fizzy. The problem is they're not holding together. Or like what happened with me is one of my recipes, they wouldn't come out of here. They just completely dried up, and it didn't matter what I did or what I said. Sorry, I'm looking. It looks like my husband might be home. Nope, he's not home. He's due home in the next hour or so, so that's why I was looking. My apologies. But anyway, it stuck to these molds, and that's what I was trying to prevent, and just to find something that would work without sticking in these molds. Well, I found that if you really let them dry out, they do actually pop out. Although I always recommend when you're doing stuff like this to try and pop them out right away so that they can dry. I just dropped that one. So I have 1, 2, I should have enough molds. 3, and let me count. 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got more behind me that are drying, so it's good. All right, so let's get to working on this recipe. I'm not going to give you the recipe, but I will give you the ingredients that are going in it. Because they're pretty much the same. I just did a different recipe. Why is my unit not working? That's weird. Hold on. Battery. I had to do this once before. Just pull the battery out of my thing and pop it in. Sometimes it gets a little wigged. All right. And my scale just died on me. That's okay. I don't need it because we're measuring today. All right, so my recipe calls for baking soda. Let's pull the baking soda out here. This baking soda is pretty well broken up, so I'm not going to worry about sifting it. I like to sift my ingredients together, so okay. You can't see what I'm doing, and there's a reason for that, so hold on. 2, 1, 2. All right, so my baking soda is in. That one is done. Where's my mixer piece? Somewhere in here. I went and did all my dishes earlier with everything that was going on. Oh, there it is. All right, let's pop this in. My puppies are outside, and it's really hot out, so I'm going to let them in. Come on. 1, 2, 3. Missy, you coming in too? All right, my kitty cat's coming in too. Got a whole household, and that's all right. My citric acid and my other ingredients I will add next. Let's do a lilac. Well, I've done so much lilac and lily today. Let's just do it anyway. I got a big jar of it, and I decided that I was going to go ahead and just do it. So my fragrance oil is a tablespoon. Oh, there it is. Tablespoon. Baby, don't look out, baby. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm going to add everything into this container. I'm going to mix it all together here. I can do a tablespoon to a half a tablespoon. I'm going to go ahead and use a full tablespoon because I want a full tablespoon. All right, so there's that. And then I have my hemp oil. This recipe I am not weighing because it doesn't require me to weigh, but it does require me to measure. So that's what we're going to do here. Oops, I need a towel. Scrape that up. We'll pour that in there. Okay. Let me get a towel to wipe this down real quick. I have some right behind me. All right, so there's that. All right, let me just double check something here. Oh, I don't have my kaolin clay. Where did that go? Oh, it's right here. Yep, my kaolin clay. Put my oils and my butters aside. I need, okay. Ah, good. So we're going to add in kaolin clay. I think this is what I need. Let me double check this. Yes, it is. Love kaolin clay in my bath bombs. I think this was one of the reasons why I was having issues too. I didn't add my clays in because the recipe didn't call for it. And kaolin clay is a really great additive to keep your bath bombs together. And I think that's probably why there was no stabilizer in there, there was no kaolin clay. But the recipe didn't call for it, so I didn't put it in. Nor did it call for Epsom salts or any other salts. So kind of a fail on that one because it was a big recipe. So we're just going to mix this up really quick. I don't want to get too much powder going there. Okay, so let me double check my recipe. Okay, a little bit of the mica. Here again, just in case we fail, I'm going to use the same coloring. And I'll mix this all up. It calls for just a little bit, but I'm using more because I'm kind of not worried about the colorant. What I like about mica is you can add as little or as much in here as you want. Put that down in there. Looks like it's all good. And you can color your bath bombs the colors that you want with micas. That's what I love about them. It doesn't dry your recipe out anymore or less. It just gives you the color. My recipe actually calls for like a teaspoon of colorant in this. I'm adding probably a full teaspoon or more. Only because I love the mica in I like the colorant. I am not adding polysorbate 80 in my recipe. I decided to try and go on a 100% natural product. So I'm leaving out the polysorbate. So these may not necessarily stay in the bathtub, but there will be colorant and you'll have to go in and clean your bathtub. I don't mind that. I do it all the time. Some people may not want that extra thing. But I don't mind it. My hands are clean, just so you know. I got stuff all over my hands, but it's clean. All right, so there's that. When I add the oils to that, it will color. All right, so my next ingredient I'm going to add is my oils and butters. Or actually, oils and butters, if you add butter to this, then you would, on my recipe, it would be a 1-to-1 ratio on it. On this recipe, I'm using straight hemp oils, so we're just going to go ahead and add it in. And my fragrance oils is going in at the same time also, so we're just adding it all together. Not going to worry about that. All right, so now let's measure in my last two ingredients, my citric acid and my SLSA. I'm going to turn this off when I add those ingredients in. The reason for that is the SLAS, if it pops up in my face, I have a respiratory issue and I cannot find my respiratory mask. Somewhere it has disappeared. I don't know where, but we'll find it. All right, so let's add the SLSA. All right. Let's see. Let me get my kaolin clay measurement out. And it's very little. You need a whole lot of SLSA in this, which is nice. Measure that out directly. Okay, I'm gonna put that in there. Close this up. Oh, it doesn't want to. Quick. There we go. Oh, it's not going to go together, but that's okay. Pop it down on the floor here and get rid of it. All right. So you haven't really seen what I've been doing here because I've kind of hidden it a little bit on for a reason. But now let's go ahead and I don't know if you can really see that or not, but we're going to add the citric acid. And my citric acid is yes, I can add 2 of those. And I'm going to put that right on top of the SLSA. Why am I doing that? This will help keep it from popping up. All right. So those ingredients have all been added. Let me turn this off. Yeah, it's a little bit on the crumbly side. All right, so I have my fragrance oil, my mica, my SLSA, my kaolin clay, my citric acid, and my baking soda. Now what I need to do is add just a touch of this. And all I'm going to do is just do a little bit of a squirt. I'm not adding a lot. I just want enough to moisten it up. And a little bit of this goes a long way. Of course, it's hot and dry, so I may add just a little bit. Get that mixing really well. A little more. Okay, I'm going to turn that off, let it stop, and I'm going to test it. Does it feel like sand? Yes, it does, but it's still a little bit on the crumbly side. So we're just going to keep adding. It's hard to determine how much witch hazel or isopropyl alcohol you're going to use, only because you're in different climates. So what you want to do is test it to see if it crumbles together. The reason why I'm using the mixer is because I want it to go ahead and mix up really, really well. Looks like it's starting to clump up in some spots. So let's see how. And it should resemble hard sand, and it should clump together, and it does do that now. So I'm going to turn that off. Okay, we don't want to add too much. Adding too much can dry your recipe out. And since this is a simple one note, put that over there and I don't have to worry about some of it's, yeah, it's really clumping together. Okay, so let's put these together. All right. And I also found out that you don't want to pack these too tight, so we're not going to do that today. But I am going to pull them out. And my counter is nice and clean, so I may just lay them right on my counter because I am out of, nope, I'm not. Although it's wet. So I'm going to dry the back of this real quick. And then we're just going to put a couple paper towels up. That'll help. Whoops. You couldn't see it, but I almost pulled the whole paper towel rack off. So we're just going to put them on this paper towel here. See that right there? See that okay? I'll drop it down just a little bit so you guys can see better. All right, so let's get these molded. So we're just going to put a little bit in there. Grab my second one. Heap it up, just a gentle tap in. Nothing heavy. And this is all I'm going to do. We said to keep them very, very loose. Aha! See, that came out just like that. Okay, so let's set this down. All right, we're not going to disturb it. Okay, a couple more. I'm doing a one color on this one. Just a gentle tap in. Gentle tap in. Grab a little more. We'll put these together. Kind of clean it off a little bit there. And we're just going to roll it over. Ah, there it goes. And we're going to let these sit. Oh, I'm hoping this recipe works. Fingers crossed, everybody, that this actually works this time. I swear to God, I've been up since 2 o'clock this morning working on this recipe. And I really, really want this to work. So let's keep going and see if we can mold these. Just clean it off a little bit. Just enough to get it to come off. Can I tap this off? Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. Yeah, it's going to come apart. Okay, let's try this again. Sometimes when that happens, it could be that could be a couple of reasons. Could have smashed it in a little bit too hard. Okay. All right, so that one's not going to come together. I'm just going to leave it there for just a minute or two, and then we'll unmold it. Gentle tap in, scoop up. Gentle tap in, grab. I think I molded that one a little bit too tight, and that's why it didn't come together. Let's see if this, okay, yeah, that was what the reason was, is I put it too tight. That's okay, lesson learned. All right, let's grab some more. Gentle tap in, gentle tap in. We don't want to put them together too hard, just gently. Oop, that one did not fill up enough. I know that one, I felt it when I put it together, so we'll do that. Okay, let's see if we can pull this together. Yep, there we go. Ah, see, now these are coming together really well. I think I finally have my recipe, you guys. These are looking beautiful. These will probably sell at a reasonable price. Haven't decided on my price points yet. I'm still working on that. Probably not very high. These little bath bombs are easy to make. Okay. I'm gonna twist that hard. Okay, good. Will that come off? Come off, come off. Oh, that did. It just took a little bit to come off, but it did. All right. I'm going to keep going here. Okay, still combining. I'm watching the heat a little bit because they are really, really hot in the house. Okay, just a little bit of, just going to put these together. I'm not going to twist. I found that when I was twisting, I was tearing them apart. So it's just a press together and leave. Yep, see? And they're coming apart and doing that. I don't know if you can see that or not, but let's come up. Yep, and it's coming off. So that is my key right there. Okay, there's another one. Oh, so far so good. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Add a couple more jewels to that one. Okay. Gentle, gentle. Put this together. That one did not mold very well. I did that for a reason. I don't know if you could saw what I just did, but it wasn't, when I pressed it together, it didn't want to, I knew it wasn't going to go together. I put too little stuff in it. Just a gentle tap, break open, there we go. Gentle tap, come off. Aha, there we go. Okay, now, let me see. Ah, now this one finally came off. I don't want to force it. Yep, that one came apart. So we're just gonna leave it together. That one may not work, but that's okay. Sometimes you get one that doesn't matter what you do, it's just not gonna work for you. We're just gonna leave it. All right, so let's pack the rest of this in this last one. I said I was gonna get 9, and sure enough, I have 9. Because there is more than enough in here for this last little bit. Okay, so those are together. Set that aside. I think I finally have my recipe, everybody. I'm so excited for this. If this recipe really does work, then we're good. We're gold. I'm just going to pop the rest of that on the top there. This one felt a little bit on the dry side, but I think if I leave it, it'll be fine. If I press these together, I think I think we're going to be fine. I'm not going to move it and disturb it. And then to try, oh, good. All right, there we go. I have 9 beautiful little bath bombs that all turned out except for this one. Let me see if I can get it. Ah! I'm not going to force that one. We'll have to take that one out. All right. So I don't know if you can see that, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 beautiful bath bombs. The yield that I tried for this recipe does work. These little bombs do work. I am super happy with them. I will probably start doing these and putting these up for you guys. As soon as they're dry, which takes about 24 hours. So there you go. We have beautiful bath bombs, a recipe that actually works. And I finally, after 4 months, have a bath bomb recipe that I could actually use. So I am super excited. And I will get those other posted up for you. As you can see, the 2 recipes, those are the 2 that failed. I just rebatched them and did something else with them. They had hardened enough to where I couldn't just crumble them up. I just left them the way they were. Some of them broke apart in like rock shape, so I just kind of crumbled them together. And those bath bombs that I was able to tear apart because they were not working, I was able to crumble them together also and kind of press them and make rocks out of them. Those are still usable. I'm just going to repackage them up into a different way to sell. Same scent as I did now. I have had 5 recipes this morning. 1 potentially, fingers crossed, actually works. Now these will have to sit for 24 hours for sure. And I will watch for any. I should actually, now that I know that they're out of the, I probably will pop them back in. No, maybe I won't. I think I'll just leave them out. They're holding up really well. I can feel them. So put that in there and I'll wash it up. So we're just going to leave them the way they are, let them dry, and they will be all good. What you didn't see is I tried to put one back in the base to kind of hold the base together. And I probably will do that because I see I have one that's possibly starting to crack. So let's pop that back in there. It will just help hold the shape. I know they're going to fall out. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm putting them back in their bases just to hold them together for the next 24 hours. Now that I know that they'll come out, they'll be fine. Once they dry, they'll fall right out. I'm not worried about it. I could leave them out this way, but the recipe actually that I put together from the original recommended that you leave them in the bases. So if you give me a second, I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm just putting them in the bottom bases just to let them dry out for a little while because they feel a little soft. So there you go. I just put them back in the bases to just help keep their shape. All right, so there you go, folks. Bath bombs number 5 this morning are done. Fingers crossed I actually have a recipe. This is a lot of work to formulate your own stuff, but here it again, it's trial and error. I did 2 big batches. I do have bath bombs that will sell, and I have product that I can sell, just not the way that I intended it to be. And I encourage you also to do the same thing. If you have a failure like what I did with your bath bombs, just turn them into something else. Bath fizzies are perfect for that. Package them up into 4 or 10 or whatever size amount you want for your customers and sell them like that. They're loose fizzies. They work the same in the bath. It doesn't really matter. Some people just like these balls because they like to watch them spin around in the bath and they really feel that they're, you know, they're bath bombs. They're going to do things where, you know, with the bath fizzies, you just sprinkle them in there and they're pretty much done. You know, with my bath fizzies though, I like to get into my tub and I like to throw the bath fizzies on top of myself so I get the same benefits of them. These will not have the Epsom salts or the rock salts in them. I've chosen not to put them in there with the exception of what's on the top here. And I'll show you this one because this one turned out really good so it doesn't fall out. It's got rock salt on the top with a little bit of mica glitter on it. Biodegradable. It will not hurt your septic system if you have a septic system or the city water, whichever you are on. They're perfectly safe and cosmetic grade, so they're going to go down your drain with no problem. These do not have polysorbate 80. I chose to leave it out, so with the coloring you may have a little bit of not necessarily staining, but you'll have a little bit of color. If you wash that out right away after your tub, after you're done with your bath, just take and, you know, rinse it out or wipe it down. You should have no problem with the stains with these colors. There you go, folks. And if you do, the risk is, you know, the risk is the risk. I do it all the time and I wash my tub out with no problem. I have a special cleanser that I use that cleans it all out and I have no issues with my bathtubs whatsoever. And I do bathe in the bath bombs quite a bit because I just love them. So there you have it. Bath bomb number 5. Well, actually, it's more than that, but I'll call it number 5. Finally, fingers crossed, recipe done. Upcoming next, I'm going back in and doing a soap. I may do that soap tomorrow. I haven't made a decision yet. I'm kind of a little bit on the tired side today, so I probably will take a break and not do anything tomorrow. But if I do, I'll make that soap. It's called a, what was it called? It's right in front of me. Sweet Pink Sugar. It has vanilla in it. When I did the soap originally, it turned brown. So we're going to add the vanilla stabilizer, which will bring out the pink color in it. And it will be absolutely beautiful. And I'm so excited to use it. The brown soaps are good to sell. And I'm going to sell them that way. They look like a chocolate pink sugar, which they don't have any chocolate in them. But I'll probably call them mountain sugar or something. I'll call them a really cool color, a name. And they're beautiful. They're actually beautiful soaps. They did not turn out the pink that I wanted because of the vanilla in it. And I was... Like I said, when I did the research on the oil itself, it didn't have any indication that there was vanilla in the recipe. So it turned brown on me, and that's okay. I just now know that there's vanilla in it, and I have to use it a different way, which is perfectly fine with me. I have no problem with it. All right, Lilac and Lily, number 5, done. Bye, you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. My link for my website is down below. It's at Jemminz.com. I am also Jemminz on eBay and Jemminz on Bonanza. I have 3 stores open right now. If you want to join my Facebook page, it's Jemminz on Facebook, Jemminz. Go join that page. I've got all my new releases will be released on that page, as well as on my YouTube channel here, and I would love to hear from you folks. So don't forget to comment down below. Also, if there's a scent that you would like me to create, please let me know in the comments down below, and I will make sure that I get that created for you. I will be creating a custom page so that you can create your own scents, and well, not necessarily your own scents, but you can request special scents if you want, and I will get those made for you. Please don't forget to let me know what you folks want. I'm here for customer service 100%. And I would love to hear from you. So thanks everybody for joining me. I wish you all the best and have a great weekend. Bye. Good evening, everyone. This is Callie with Jemminz, and I'm letting you see the final results of our bath bombs that we made earlier. As you can see, the recipe did kind of sort of work out, but not fully. They actually have flattened out a little bit as they were drying, as you can see. And this is a result of using witch hazel in my recipe. I usually don't use witch hazel. I used a new recipe. I'm happy with the results somewhat. I think this would be better suited for a smaller bath bomb. But overall, they're okay. I'll probably put these up in a few days. They're still trying to dry. These are larger bath bombs than I normally make. And they're a little bit on the hard side, or the soft side still. So we want these to harden up a little more. And then I'll list them up. They function very well. These are the other bath bombs that we did earlier. These don't look too bad. It turned out a little bit better. This is the final recipe that I did. But here, once again, this recipe was the recipe that we did, that I redid and did myself. I had that one that we were working on. It did break on me, but that's okay. That does happen occasionally. It just would not come out of the form. And as you can see, it's still stuck in there. I can't even get this out. So I'll dig that out later. But they're very, very soft still. My hands are clean, so don't worry. And this was the final result of those. They flattened out a little bit here again. I think that's due to using the witch hazel. It kind of softens it up. And as I'm touching them, they're still fairly soft. So these will take a little bit longer to harden up. It's not been 24 hours. It's only been a couple hours. But still, after a couple hours, they're really hardening up pretty well. So I'm hoping by tomorrow I can really test this out and see what it is. This was the previous bath bomb of the recipe that I used earlier. It did turn out very well. I'm very happy with it. But here again, this was using witch hazel and not the isopropyl alcohol. I really think that if I went and switched back to the isopropyl alcohol, my recipes would work better.
With the witch hazel, I had a really hard time getting them out of the molds, but they did fall out. So I'm kind of in a dilemma right now with the recipe that I made. I'm happy with the recipe. It does work. However, I think I'm going to switch and do a witch hazel and just do an isopropyl alcohol one and see how that turns out. I know my other bath bombs, when I've used the isopropyl alcohol, that they have worked. So I'm happy with that. Even after I dislodged these from the bath bombs after using the witch hazel, remember I put them back in, there was a couple of them that had a really hard time coming out, and it was really hard to get them out completely. I'm not sure how to solve that. As you can see, this one it flat out won't come out at all. It's very hard. It's stuck in here. And this was the reason why I didn't want to use these anymore, and why I went to the the newer bath bomb mold that I had, because pretty much any mold that I use, they get stuck in here. I had one out of the 9 not turn out, but as you can see, the majority of them did fairly well. So I'm not quite sure how to solve that. I'm still working on it. I think I'll just use isopropyl alcohol in the next recipe that I do, just to test that out and see which ones I like better, and then go from there. Otherwise, I'm pretty much happy with the results with the new recipe that I'm using. All right, so there you have it, folks. That is our bath bombs that we made earlier with the new recipe. Let me go on top here and you can take a pretty good look at them. Kind of whitened out a little bit and flattened, but not too bad. So there you go. There's the one that failed in the back. It broke off. That's that one. And then this was the recipe that I used previously. So all in all, they're working out really well. I'm very happy with them. All right, you guys, you all have a good night, and I wish you all the best. And these will be listed up here in the next few days as soon as they harden up a little more. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye.